Hallo zusammen und hier ist die nächste Folge aus der Serie Kein Einkommen, aber volle Kosten, Live-Musik am Boden. Heute habe ich zwei ganz besondere Gäste in der Show aus den USA. Aus Los Angeles heiße ich willkommen den Michael Jost und den Billy Stobo. Hi Billy, hi Michael, how are you?
Hello, Uli.
Hi Uli, how are you?
I'm great, I'm great. Good to see you. Yeah. Tell the audience briefly what you are doing. What is your role in the music industry? What is your position in the music industry? What are you doing?
The word music industry is a tough word, but you know what we're doing here. We're doing Radio Venice here from my studio out, which we've done for quite some years, and Billy is the master of the Musicbox. I'm just gonna summarize a little bit. So when COVID hit here, the last show that I did with Susie Williams was March 12, 2020. There was a last show before LA shut down the next day, which was a great, awesome show at the Genghis Khan in Hollywood. And the city was already kind of weird. And the next day, of course, everything shut down. It was just like it is in Germany. Nothing worked and all our musicians, everything was done. So what happened then, everyone had to just switch to streaming. Unfortunately, having Radio Venice at that point, we were at a lucky position to be able to just jump in. We had the technology prepared, and then we had always like wild parties and live performances in here in a very tight space. That was of course not possible anymore. So we were able to switch the technology that we could switch with the help of internet, and my co-workers, Ray Stanton and Barry Conley, we could switch to it. All the studios all over the world and started a new way of doing it, which was at first, of course, the in-life person, the sweat, the smells, everything wasn't there anymore. But you know, now we really perfected the technology. Now we play it the same day with musicians from Australia or Europe or here and all that kind of stuff. So the bad part also led to a good part. Now, all of a sudden, we had this and could open up, you know. So we could still communicate, still play music, and actually the bad part turned into a good part because all of a sudden we got connected with people from all over the world even closer through that. So there was, besides all the bad part, a good part. The negative impact, what you say, no income and everything, that is of course the thing. Whole industry, whatever, not only the musicians, of course, the venues, the restaurants that attached, the roadies, all this what got rather destroyed. Compared to Germany, that I heard, so that usually is taking better care of the people. I think what happened here, actually a lot of people that were working in this industry could apply as gig workers and were eventually allowed to collect unemployment, which helped a lot of people, which I heard was not so easy in Germany. So I, as a German myself, was surprised that actually people seem to be a little bit better taken care of here in the US than they were in Germany for that. So, and a lot of people were able actually to use the time, since they got a little bit unemployment, they were able to really work on new records, work on new music and everything. Like I said, there's a bad part, but a lot of people were able to do something good out of it. For myself, the development of the radio show was great, and working on new records with great artists was a good part too.
Oh, so some fantastic records.
Good, yeah. There's some fantastic records coming out from other things. So all that, good. We do miss, and that's where I'm going to transition to Billy. We all missed still the live interaction with audience and coming back. Of course, we're all kind of addicted to it. And so that was the one thing that was missing. And then there came Billy Stobo, right?
Yeah.
He had this brilliant idea with a Musicbox that allowed us a whole nother revolution of live music. And something really special is happening here. So according to your show or to your series, yes, income and all these things and living and all this, it's really bad, but some beautiful things happened. So Billy, tell a little bit about the music.
Billy, tell us about the Musicbox, correct?
Yeah, the Musicbox was kind of an accident, really. It was a cabinet that I built, a tool cabinet, because I'm a carpenter. So I just realized that, wow, you can stand in this and it sounds good, and And then my creative mind obviously just started putting it all together. And I actually started doing this a couple of years ago. And it was really just for fun. It was to have a little goofy little art expression that was aside from all the regular club gigs I would play normally and whatnot. So, and I loved, since my band Golden Buddha was such a street, that's where we came out of, playing on the streets all through Europe and stuff. So we were really, I already knew that the exercise of how to comport yourself playing live on the streets and stuff. So it just seemed kind of like a natural thing for me to do solo, was to be out here in the beach where all these other musicians are. I could just, you know, basically doing the same thing with the same gear. It's just now I'm in a box. And I think that just that framing gave a little bit more connection to people that got it. And I did this for a good year, just for little events. I would do it at parties because it was easy to wheel into someplace, or out in front of little venues. One of the little restaurants here was trying to promote a little events, and so I brought it out for that. But it still had a little bit of a hokiness. I don't know what the translation to hokey is, but some people just thought that's weird. I'm not getting in a box to play. And then even though I know tons and tons of musicians, few of them wanted to get in. They weren't motivated to, because they're all playing all the time. So it was really mostly me and Michael just taking turns with a few friends around here playing. And so obviously when COVID hit, it was like, well, because I'd bring it out once in like a month or something like that. It wasn't a very regular thing. And then it just seemed like a no-brainer. As soon as you can't have a show, wait a minute, I'm not going to stop playing. So it's kind of a little bit of a selfish motivation. I'm like, well, I got to get out there, and I'm like a snail. I got my house on my back. This is great. And because I'm a carpenter. It's part of being always crafty, and you're trying to, you build a new system for transport, and, customizing trailers and stuff like that. So making the process very efficient, even though the process is quite involved, because there's all kinds of gear. It's full PA, lighting, and the whole bit. But the one benefit that I had was that I was one of the few people that didn't stop working through the pandemic. So my regular job was going. We were considered essential workers because, rich people can't be homeless. You gotta fix their houses. Oh gosh, So I was able to support myself. I wasn't trying to battle. I wasn't motivated with the Musicbox to make money at it. And that gave me a lot of freedom to put it in places where you're not going to make any money. And even though now there's big crowds, and I probably could make money just by passing the hat, doing things, I really kind of leave it up to the bands that play in it, because I know that I'm just really doing this just to get it out there. But it's obvious that it can make money for that reason, at least for what you're talking about and trying to encourage musicians to kind of get through this whole thing. There are the odd sort of thing is you need to think outside the box, but in this case you have to play in the box to kind of get the sense that, oh, the world has confined me into a tight space. Well, what am I going to do with it? And I think that most artists that might be a little pensive getting in, they're like, this is very uncomfortable. I don't know. I feel like cloistered. As soon as they start playing, it sounds so good inside the box that it inspires people to play. And then obviously, as soon as you throw a crowd in front of people, especially people who have been sitting on the edge of their bed for months playing only to a camera, it catches like fire. And the popularity of it has really exploded. And not just for the crowd's sake, but for the musicians. So now, like Michael, Michael gets flooded with all kinds of musicians constantly wanting to be on his show. Now it's happening to me, which is
a good thing, right?
Glad to have him to like complain about things. But,
similar situation.
But in the benefit from that, like he's saying, that all of the struggle and the sacrifices and everything, it's paying off for me personally, because now I'm meeting and being injected with all these amazing artists. Because you
Cool.
You're in Los Angeles. There's a lot of artists, so you're gonna, be lucky enough to get access to them.
How does it work in your environment? With do you need a permit for that, official permit to move around that box?
Another benefit for the COVID, because the police have been kind of instructed by the government, because the government doesn't know what to do. They got all these homeless people here, and they got new homeless people, and they got people just desperate. So they've been very hands off, and I think that especially here in Venice, where we've been having the big shows, where there's 200, sometimes 300 people at these shows.
Insane, crazy, insane.
And I'm just sitting on the street. We're blocking the streets sometimes, and there's lots of drinking, which is completely illegal here. But the cops they kind of keep an eye on it. They say, okay, because I manage the whole show. I MC the show. I'm performing, but I'm also MCing, and I play with everybody. But I'm also keeping an eye on things. And I if someone's getting a little out of hand, I take care of that. So because I know that as soon as it gets, and in Venice things can change pretty quick. You just to keep the police at a sense of where, okay, you guys aren't destroying something. We're going to let you guys keep it contained in here. And they've been good about that. Even though they'll say, you really need a permit for this.
But they also have been kind of cool with it, because, all the crazies that run around in Venice at night, but kind of focused now. They had them all in one place in front of the Musicbox.
Yeah.
So we had them last night out. Billy had the Musicbox out here on the hill. It was a beautiful show last night.
Right on the beach.
Right on the beach. You see the police drone circling the entire time and monitoring everything. So it's weird because there's no police around, but they are around. Back in the days, there's no police. I'm sure there's a couple undercovers in there too, but they're really happy with it, right? And they're actually happy. We just concentrate all the crazies, right? They have them all in one spot and flying the drone over it and really what I felt is, as a musician myself, but also the audience, there's a huge love there for that. All these people, as soon as they hear Billy sometimes doesn't show up, or when he shows up, where is he? I get the emails. Is Billy coming? Is the Musicbox coming? There's a crowd. And before it, playing in LA, we've been playing in LA for many years. You usually have 5, 10, 12 people come to your shows, and that's already difficult because now there's 100, 200, 300 out there. More shows, in one gig you have more than you usually have in a year, and it's a beautiful thing. And there's lots of love. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And we've bumped up the game as far as the PA, so now we have full bands. I mean, there's shows where no one's in the box. It's just a backdrop, and it just becomes like a band shell, almost like a backdrop for the bands.
Yeah, big bands. There's like big rock and roll. The Musicbox is just the excuse to fucking rock out hard.
So it's definitely told me and everybody. It's obvious this was needed because. Okay, sure, everyone's cloistered, they need to get out and do this, but it was also like a cleansing for the artists. You really had to, this is the time, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna step up and be creative and take this opportunity, or take this situation as an opportunity to do something good, or are you just gonna hide out in your cave, which a lot of them have. A lot of our friends just disappeared, just could not handle it, so.
Absolut. Also ihr hört, das ist eine ganz hervorragende Idee mit der Musicbox. Ein paar Clips habt ihr hier gesehen, auch während dem Dings. Ich kann nur jedem raten, in Los Angeles ist das vielleicht ein bisschen lockerer, auch wenn die Polizei überall ist. Wenn ihr sowas macht in Deutschland, fragt vorher, ob ihr dürft. Nicht, dass ihr nochmal zusätzlich Ärger bekommt. Ich weiß davon zu reden, dass es da sehr große lokale Unterschiede gibt in den einzelnen Städten.
Uli, this is how Golden Buddha made our whole career. For 10 years, we were driving around Germany, playing wherever we wanted.
Cool.
And we'd get chased off every once in a while, but we made a career out of just what do you call it? Asking for forgiveness and not permission. Yeah. That's what we call that.
That's a good quote. That's a good quote. That's a good quote.
The thing is about COVID, there's also one thing about the transmission rates and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of scientific thing, but fact is that the outside transmission is way less than anything that would happen.
Yeah, sure.
So at that point, Billy said also, I'm the only live venue in Los Angeles or in the whole of California, because he rolls that little thing up, but we're all outside. In particular, being at the beach, there's also, I heard, because the salt air and everything, and then tone and smoking, lots of pot, right?
Yeah.
So we're kind of, I mean, not every time was super responsible, and you know, in the beginning everyone's wearing masks, but after a couple of drinks, not necessarily always so, but no one got any, right? So I don't know from anyone, from any of our friends, we were out there hundreds, right? Just playing music, of course, trying to be respectful. You don't necessarily kiss everyone, you know, or just high fives and stuff and things, but something was watching that it worked, right? So, but again, you know, everyone has to be with their own kind of responsibility and things, but the outside thing is what happens. That's the important part.
That's an awesome, great idea. I love that. And I love to come to Los Angeles and to play myself in the Musicbox someday.
Oh, yeah. Of course. You know, the thing is, it might that we come first.
Okay. That's great. Yeah.
So the plan is eventually go in August, if it's all open up by then, build one in the garage of my mom. We're going to come. First we take Dreichenhain, then we take Niederdorf Felden. Motherfucker, that's what's going to happen.
Guys, feel welcome anytime.
We're going to come bring the music box, right?
Yeah, the potential is there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. How do you see the perspective, the future of live music? How will the pandemic impact the future of that live event session? What is the new normal? Let me say it this way for you. What is your perspective on that?
There's definitely going to be a lot more outdoor venue. That's a guarantee. I mean, it just tells you with the Musicbox that even when everything opens up and people are going back to clubs and stuff, I'm sure there might be a little bit of a wane in the crowds at the Musicbox, but now it's sort of shown everybody, like, I don't want to go to a club. I don't want to pay $50 to get in. I don't want to pay $10 beer. You know, I'd rather just like go and see the same cool people and the same cool music outside. Why would I bother? But I think the immediate result is going to be a Roaring 20s that rivals the last century's Roaring 20s, because Absolutely. People are off their nut. People are just, I see it in their eyes when they show up by accident, like they've been wandering around here and they see the Musicbox and they're like, what is this thing? This is what? Like a little kid, you know, at a candy store or something. And you can see, and then I look over 5 minutes later and they've got half their clothes off and they're dancing like crazy. So it just tells me like the world is going to go through this, have a weird renaissance. And then the creativity of everyone is going to, who knows what's going to happen, to be honest with you. But the fact that we have so much technology to access, to be creative, you know, you'll have holographic shows and all kinds of things where people are doing, you know, anything. I don't know, 3D rendering artists to be in your house. I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But
Jeff having the silver helmet with a laser pointed on. You know, we played with VPO. Jeff is an incredible drummer, right? Jeff Haber, he was a former Mother Tongue drummer, right? So he came out there playing drum set. He had a silver helmet with all mirrors, and he told him he brought a laser. He said to Billy, point it at my head. So he had to point the laser at his head, and just when he was playing, the laser was flying there, and there was smoke machines and everything. So real quick, one thing what I wanted to say is to your question. I personally feel, and I can feel it already, all the bad stuff that happened, and of course, not to forget of all the people that died and the suffering, you cannot. There's obviously really bad things happen, and we all feel sorry for this. But there will be new appreciation for live music, right? You know, before all that happened, everyone, oh man, you know, I'm not going to watch a band tonight, I'm going to watch Netflix and all that stuff, right? So I feel like since it has been taken away, you can tell people really, really love live music, and particularly Billy is getting so much love. We also got some love for Radio Venice. Yes, you keep that alive so that people realize this is really important. This is really important. And I think the good thing that will come out of it, when we come back slowly in whatever form it will be, people really will appreciate it. They appreciate the artists, the live music that's just being out there and not sitting at home on the computer or on watching Netflix all the day. I think Renaissance is the right word, just as Billy said. And there will be good things coming out of it.
So in other words, to put it in other words, yeah. So virtual format is just in interim in your point of view. Virtual format of live music.
Yeah, the virtual format is, for me, particularly from our point of view, from the Radio Venice company, it really opened up the possibility to connect worldwide now. There's great musicians in Australia. There's great musicians in Europe. There's great musicians here, right? But now we all connect more. We are more curious. We see this, let's say we had, like last Sunday, we had this radio show with this band Jolie from somewhere in Australia. Holy shit, they were so good, right? There's people I never would have met, never seen. So now we're all making plans, like Billy and me, we're going to come to Niederdorf-Felden. It's written in stone, right? All that stuff.
I hope so.
We will. Don't worry. So all that, the virtual format let us connect, let us talk about what's going to happen, let us see the desire, meet each other, and then eventually the music box will be there, and we're all going to play in the same box together, right?
Well, the live streaming, I think is it's a great another format, right? And there is some connectivity. But it has so much, there's a clumsiness that takes away from the benefit of it being live. Sometimes it's really just better to record it and then put it out. Because really the only benefit that I've seen in the live streaming for like the individual artists is that people can comment on the screen and you can have some interaction. When you have a show like Michael's, it's a different story because you plotted it out, it's scheduled, you've got this kind of thing. But for like the everyday artist performing, there's definitely a use for these things, and they're just tools. But it really, like he's saying, it's just forcing everybody to realize that it's actually the music, it's not the platform. You can maybe adjust your music to play it in a smaller capacity, since most people are on their phone, right? We're not going to go for the big bass heavy stuff because you can't hear it on the phone. I'm going to do a whole record all in mono because I'm sick of stereo, because all you hear is in one speaker anyway. But why bother with all the complicated thing with
stereo?
It's stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's shit. So there's the technology will always help that. I mean, shoot, I haven't done any live streaming with the Musicbox, but I know if I had the technology and I had the gear and someone to help me do that, that would really catapult its worldwide population, popularity, obviously. So there is no, it'll integrate itself. It's not like one's going to go away, but like Michael said, it's just this.
It's other format, and it all has its. Okay, got the point. Yeah.
And that people are just finally realizing that, because you know how it was. There was a time when techno music was taking over live music, and there was actually people that would be kind of snobby about, oh, you play live? Like, oh, there's a band at this party? Ooh. Like, whoa, okay, where do you think that music is coming from?
Remember when they told us guitars are dead?
Yeah. I remember.
For a while in the 80s, 90s, they're like, that's the end of the guitar. Now what I heard in times of COVID, companies like Gibson or Martin or whatever, they cannot build enough guitars, right?
Okay.
Because everyone is just like, really, like also the pandemic, I got better as a musician because I've been working a lot on my instrument too, right, in that time. And then what happens, the people in America got the stimulus check, and I heard that a lot of people spent this ride on a guitar, which is a great thing.
Yes.
Right? That's quite some stimulus there.
Mm-hmm. That brings me to another question to you, Michael. You're doing several things. You do your Radio Venice show. You are your own musician as well, but you're also working as a producer. What was your experience during the pandemic through your producer classes? That's something special.
What happened is, at first everyone like, what the fuck is going to happen? It was kind of weird, right? So then a couple beautiful things happened. All the tourists stayed away from Venice. All the traffic stopped. So for like a week after it all started, all of a sudden it was paradise.
Oh, owls started showing up.
White owls
in Venice.
Beautiful blue air. I never seen Catalina Island that beautiful before. Yeah. It was gorgeous. Of course, everyone my neighbor Franny, we just like, man, so we bought sacks of potatoes just in case the shit comes down, right? We can cook all that stuff. But then as a producer, you know Matty D, he played on you guys' record, right? Matty D at that point came to me, hey man, I recorded this record and you've been hooking me up for 20 years. Now I can give you some back. So I want you to mix that record. So what happened is he came and he had this beautiful, it's called Fool's Journey. Oh, and he had incredible musicians on there. It was recorded here in Rose. So I started mixing this here. So I got a gig there and a beautiful record that I was able to mix. So all of a sudden it was gorgeous, sweet, beautiful, clean and everything. And I was mixing for like 2 months, this incredible album, right? Of incredible music. So, and then the piece all of a sudden I had, not to go from one gig to the next, not this, just really focus on my own guitar playing and work on this record. So I got really lucky, also thanks to Matty D, and congratulations, Fool's Journey, Matthew Demerit. I'm really proud of this record, but Matty D should be proud of this, unbelievable music. So I was lucky got to do it.
Just my 2 cents on that is really it's the most moving record I've heard in years, like as a whole piece. So record.
I will link it. I will link it in the description.
Yeah, you got to check it out. Unbelievable, unbelievable. So I was really kind of like, it was almost a Zen kind of thing. I just put all the bad stuff away, stopped watching news for a while, just playing by myself on the instrument, work on my instrument and on that record. And then later what happened, musicians had to, okay, I cannot do this live thing right now. Let me finish up that project that I wanted to do a long time ago.
And they got their stimulus check.
They got their stimulus check, yeah, and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, I got really busy, you know. Titus is another great artist I'm working with. I've been working on a record with him. Then of course, their own records. So yes, all of a sudden, so this is the thing, you know, when people get a little bit unemployment and everything, all of a sudden, the musicians' hustle to survive every day was a little gone. There was nothing else to. So they actually could sit back and focus on what they love doing, which is music, create and everything. So again, with all the bad stuff that happened, this was a good stuff. I felt it for myself and I could feel it on the musicians and the artists I've been working with. So everyone really focused on this for a moment. The pressure was gone. And let's do what we do and create our. There's 2 things. As producer, yes, I got a couple really good, interesting projects to work on. I also got to work on music. As a musician, I was going back basically and just like make myself better. And then
his new project, El Duelo. Oh my God. This is, you guys are going to get a real injection of some fun because
Rick and me were working like,
and it's athletic. This is very athletic music for the guitar. This is no joke. It's so they really have to craft that and they have to work at it to put it together. And I've luckily it's so suited for the Musicbox. Some of the best Musicbox shows, the highlights definitely are the El Duelo shows because it's just 2 guys and a guitar. It's pretty easy to cover in the Musicbox, but. This is another one it's blowing up for him on this time. It did save a lot of time.
Absolutely.
We can make another show about music therapy. You know, come to Dr. Jost and Dr. Kepler.
Dr. Jost, Dr. Kepler, correct.
We will we'll give them advice.
If you should give a hint to your colleagues in the music industry, as from musician to musician, what should they consider? What is your hint, your tip, your advice?
A new line of work. A new line of work, I think, maybe.
Start playing the stocks or something so the bills are paid.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, don't, you know, that's a problem. You know, calling in music industry, right? I'm sorry to correct you there, but I think there is no such thing anymore, right? There's only one industry. It's like that motherfucker from Spotify becoming a millionaire and just raping all the art of all the people.
Yeah.
So that's industry. I don't like this. If there's something what we both learned from this, you know, the do-it-yourself kind of approach, there's no more industry to get signed or do this or whatever or make on commercials. Fuck all that. The most important thing for me is just particularly in music. Music can be your savior. You gotta love it, right? Stay pure with the love to your instrument or the music that you make. Do that no matter what. And don't make it depend on industry or money. You got to survive, of course. It's hard. That's another thing. But you will get frustrated if you make it connecting to the industry. But don't lose the love and the preciousness of music And it's work on yourself, work on your instrument, do what you love, and push it as hard as you can. And I think eventually you will be able to make a living. But if you first think, how much am I going to make with this? It's also a very German way of doing this, right? I've been brought up like this. I know this. Well, when are you getting a real job, right? Or it's just like all this thing. Music and art is precious. And so, and it should be treated as like a love affair, right? Be really sweet to it and nurture it and water it like flowers.
And it'll make breakfast for you.
It will make breakfast for you.
In the morning.
Or give you one place to stay at night.
Oh,
right? Like
yeah.
Billy.
and to add to your words, to add Billy's comment, yeah, be creative and create some new ideas how to present yourself, yeah, how to present your art, yeah. I mean, that is a fabulous example. The Musicbox is a totally different way to present the art to the audience in a different, a different inroad to the audience, yeah. Like it.
The aspect of just being creative when you say, well, okay, for you musicians out there, just be creative. It's a very difficult concept. It's very abstract. Creative, I really don't know. And what I always try to convey to people as just a base level of connection to your art is that the only thing that you truly can be creative of, the only thing that makes you creative is just you. The moment that you start to chase after a style or someone else's image or their sound, you've just removed yourself from the one thing that is the most creative, which is just you and your natural instincts, your natural complexities. And so it's difficult. It takes a lot of courage and self-reflection and self-love. Oh, wow, that's a big thing that a lot of people don't really get. Self-respect and all that. So once you can kind of go in and love yourself, you'll see how all those opportunities, all the possibilities they're at your fingertips. You know, even if you are playing the Stevie Ray Vaughan Stratocaster that you bought on the wall, and you wear his hat and you wear a cape and you do the whole thing and you model yourself on the exterior as Stevie Ray Vaughan, but you are presenting yourself in the guitar as Joe Schmo, you're going to be creative on your own. It's going to come out as Joe Schmo, and he'll be the new rock star.
And it's a longer path.
It's a terrible name.
It seems to be more. Joe Schmo is a terrible name.
That's terrible.
By the way, I talked to Susie's husband last night. He was, I think, Frank Zappa's road manager for 7 years. He talked to a former singer of Frank Zappa, and so he's making a living. He plays in 9 Frank Zappa cover bands. That's the thing.
Wow.
So, but yeah, stay creative, make your own thing. We all need to, have basically grassroots movement of music, like Billy, do have the Musicbox, the radio show. We got to inject and plant that seed of this idea, of this ideology to Germany. That's why we need to come there with a Musicbox in the summer, right? So, and do all that, do your own thing. We're doing this. Money is a different thing. It's not easy. You have to pay the bills. You cannot forget it. There's a lot of romance about it, but you might find a way, but you will be frustrated about this anyway. So don't lose the love for the music and what you do.
Just to tag onto that real quick, because it's really that was really important, was we're talking right this moment about going into yourself and being creative, true to yourself and whatnot. But really the testament that I've learned a lot, obviously, is it's the community is what's going to build you up. Yes. And that's why, Michael and I have been, we're very open to work together and sharing, because we know that collectively 2 are stronger than 1, for sure. And now it's 50 are stronger than 1, and the 100, and you start to build this community. And it's classic that every music scene that came out of a city, it came out of a city because there was a whole bunch of bands doing it. They were playing each other and playing each other's records and sharing and all that. That's what really made them pop. It wasn't like Nirvana was the only band to create the Seattle sound. It was they were a product of all of this community working together. So this is a problem for a lot of musicians, because they get so in their own world that they forget that they do need to share, and they do need to integrate and not have a fear of, oh, someone's going to take my stuff, or they're going to take advantage of me or something. But they have to have confidence that, oh, when I'm sharing outward, I'm getting back too, so I'm safe. And I see the end result is I get more people around, more ears to listen, and more bonds with other musicians and friendships. And
collaboration. Yeah?
You know, the thing is, a lot of people come here to LA from all over the world. They meet you and they think, how can I get started in the scene? How do I get in this? How do I get into this festival? How can I play your radio show? All that kind of stuff, right? So my answer is my own experience. When I first got here, I wanted to play festivals. I wanted a record deal. I wanted to be on that radio show. I wanted to, of course, no one gave a fuck. It doesn't matter how good you are. They have all their scenes built and they don't let you in so easy. The answer is make your own scene, right? Find like-minded musicians that are on your level, preferably better than you, right? Because if you play with musicians that are better with you, it will pull you up, right? Some people just can't have it. I can have an opening act that's really good to make me look, fuck that. You know, be challenged, do this. All that happens and we all make shows together and expose each other, and it does work. You gotta find like-minded people, create your own scene. And that's how we survive COVID.
As an overall wrap-up, create your own scene.
Yeah.
I think that's a good title for the things.
It has the DIY.
Let's say, like, for example, the Slacks or something. You know, look, there's something beautiful happening in Reichenhain, the Soundgarden, the Slacks. Have you seen Biene Morgenstern and Wolf, what they're doing there? That's a beautiful venue. I mean, I've been all kinds of venues all over this planet. This is one of my favorite venues. It is gorgeous. I'm so delighted in my hometown to find something like this. We're just at the beginning of really, the internet allows us now to put it all together, but also when we can travel again, just like, fuck Spotify, fuck all this shit, right? We gonna do our own thing, and just like, and there will be appreciation. I'm actually more positive now than I was in a long time. Right. Yeah. Despite all that.
Yeah. Billy, Michael, thank you very much for your time and to have that conversation. I really
it's great to see you again.
I really appreciate it, and to be honest, I can't wait to see you here in Germany and to see the German version of the Musicbox. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows what it's gonna be like? It might be. I might have to make it inflatable. So it'll be a little more transport.
Yeah, we're gonna build it out of a bunch of boxes. It says Licher Pilsner.
Licher Pilsner. Okay. Ja, Leute, das waren mal ein paar neue Impulse vom über den Teich hinweg, ja, von meinen Freunden Billy Stobo und Michael Jost. Ja, herzlichen Dank, dass ihr dazu geguckt habt. Gebt uns ein Like und abonniert den Kanal und we see you next time. Have a good one. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Ciao. Ciao.
Tschüss.